So we finally have all the electrical stuff in. The headlight, all my components, the wire, I can't wait to show you, the sheathing, and the legit Sumitomo electric connectors, which I'm probably the most excited about. So on my 08, I did the best job I could at the time with the connectors that I sourced. They were those amp seals that were made by TE, and you can pretty much find them on Amazon. Nothing special about them. The problem is they're huge and bulky though, and it's just a cheap way to like hook up a trailer hitch or something. But the ones that I got, these Sumitomo electrics, these are legitimate OEM Honda stuff. This wiring harness, hopefully when I'm done, is going to look as stock as it would be if Honda made it themselves. That's my goal here. So if you don't remember, in the last video when I was getting the electrical situation kind of figured out, I was a little overwhelmed at the end, and put the project away for the rest of that weekend, and figured I'd come back here. It's Friday, and we're going to start this fresh. It's a good weekend to do it. We're supposed to get 10 inches of snow tonight. So between the snow this weekend and being stuck here in the garage, and totally fresh in my mind, got the whole week to think about all this. I cannot wait to start this. So I'm going to show you some of these parts now. This is super cool. So the Squadron Pro from Baja Designs finally showed up, and the only thing I'm not really impressed with is they don't supply you with a connector that you can wire into your own harness and connect to this. So unfortunately, even though this is probably a very nice connector, I'm gonna have to cut it off because nothing came in the kit with it to hook it up. So it's like they leave you the only option to buy one of their wiring harnesses and hook it up, where I think for the amount of money that you spend on this headlight, they should supply you with the male connector to this, so you can hook it up to your own wiring harness at home, which I'm sure most people do. As we talked about before, this is all the parts that we are going to have to make up to get this wiring harness ready to go. Here's the charge port, our horn, our low beam selector, the Thunder box, Scene Designs LED control, our tick switch, the main control switch, LED flasher, brake light, pressure switch, LED blinker. This is an extension for that Trail Tech that I'm going to have to put on there. And these, so I sourced the wire and the sheathing and the not the connectors, but the wiring and the sheathing I got from Mil-Spec Wiring. And this is about as top quality as you can get. I ordered red and black, however, because of supply chain stuff, they did not have red or black. So I told them, I was like, they said they had violet and green, and I was like, that's fine. So we're going to be using violet for our positive and green to signify the negative or the ground. This is the sheathing that I got. This stuff is about as top quality as I think you can find for the consumer. It's made by Mil-Spec Wiring. They supply it, and it's a fiberglass sheathing. This is the exact same stuff that you'd see on like a factory HRC bike wire loom. And I got, I think this is 3/16, and then I got 3/4 for some of the bigger wires. So we're gonna try to fit as much as the loom into this as I can, and make it really heat shrink that all on nice. So what I'm probably most excited about is these connectors. I got these from cycleterminal.com. And the guy, he looks like he's out of Jersey, and I was really impressed with how even he just packaged them. Everything is properly labeled, really well organized, and I get the impression that he's somewhat of a perfectionist, kind of like how I am, which I was kind of stoked about. And I've been meaning to send him an email to thank him for the fast shipment and everything being really well organized. It wasn't like he just sent me a big bag of all these individual pins. Individual pins. I mean, even the males and the females, they're all individually bagged. So I thought that was really cool. These are legitimate Sumitomo electric connectors. So this is the stuff that you'll find in an OEM automobile engine, and you cannot beat this. This is the standards that the manufacturers have to meet to put an electrical connector into an automobile engine bay are pretty strict. So if you think of that environment, it's super hot, sometimes steamy. It's got oil vapors in it. you know, they have to meet certain requirements for electrical resistance just in the connector, you know, so you're not leaking voltage and making a car engine shut off just because it gets a little bit of oil or water on it. So these are awesome connectors, and I'm super stoked about them. The thing I'm not going to be able to utilize, so they actually have a little clip on them where you can clip these into things, like if it was in an engine bay. I'm going to be able to maybe utilize those with some zip ties to tie them up to things. However, I did get these boots from Mil-Spec also. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to use this big one, but I have it on the standby. I'll definitely be able to use this one for somewhere in the engine bay, somewhere on the bike to keep a couple connectors locked up in. On the 08, I did the best job I could at the time, and what I ended up using was these amp seals. I think these are made by they're made by Amp or TE Connectivity, and you can get these on Walmart. They're really easy to put together. They're super cheap, but they're bulky. So this is a single pin connector. This is a 6-pin, so you can see they're almost like the same size, and you can get 6 connections in this and 1 connection in that. So the thing I didn't like about the 08 was all my connectors really took up a lot of room on the bike. So when I decided to do the 17, I wanted to really make the electrical harness at least better than I did before on the 08, if not the best I could. And what I decided on was these Sumitomo electric connectors, and I'm really stoked with just the quality and how they look already on the bench. So we're going to get started on the bike today. Really, I think what I'm going to have to, before I even get started with the fun stuff over there, I'm going to have to get that charge port drilled in. I'm going to have to drill and tap here for where the speedometer is going to mount, and then I'm actually going to put the headlight on here also, so I can get a general idea of the wire lengths that I'm going to need, and like where that LED light, I'm going to have to mount that LED light controller in here somewhere. So before I get to the bench and soldering and playing around with all these connectors, I'm going to have to figure out the location and finalize a few things on the bike frame. I was thinking about the charge port. So originally I was going to put it here because it just works out with my garage better. However, the chain being on that side, I don't think that's going to be cool. So what I'm probably going to do is put the charge port on this side and keep it away from the chain and all the goop that's going to be slinging off of that. So what we're going to do is get started with a few finalizations for where I'm going to locate things, and then hopefully, definitely by tomorrow, we'll be soldering and playing. But today, we got to get a few more things fastened down. So this looks like it's going to work out pretty good. We got the Squadron Pro on there, and actually everything clears so that factory wiring harness where it connects to the front head, it actually clears the backside of the lamp pretty good. And the good news is where I had kind of planned on mounting the speedometer right here, it looks like that's going to clear the Squadron Pro really good also. So I'm going to get this off and get some holes drilled and tapped so that the Speedo can mount just like that on the bike. And it's going to kind of be, you know, a bit in the way, popping out there, but I do want to see it, and I think that's going to be okay. And potentially, I could move the headlight up higher also, so looking good. So I already see a bit of a problem. This is the holder for the Trailtech Vapor, and so this hole is actually cut out pretty good. I'm actually going to bevel that corner and smooth it out so it has even less of an opportunity to cut a wire. But if you look in there at those wires, see how they're already getting chewed up, and that would be because this hole is too small. So when that fits on there, we're actually going to open this hole up and smooth it out, grind it really good to get rid of that sharp edge, so that if you installed this on this bike and took that on a ride, the vibrations after one ride would short every single one of those wires out. So that is totally unsat, so we're gonna fix it though. Here's so I just got done shaving that off and cleaning it. It is not as straight as I want it. However, you can see all the wires clear this now, And so where those wires are going to touch it, I got it really smoothed out nice with a Scotch-Brite. So if a wire does come in contact with that, it's not going to have any issue with chafing or braiding on it. It's really smoothed over nice now, and you know they can sit there and vibrate on those. That's okay. I got the speedometer mounted, and it took me about 2 hours to get it perfectly centered, and I wanted to get the bolts as far out as I could so that they'd be able to provide the most support from when this thing starts vibrating, you know, while we're riding it. But mounted up pretty sweet, and that's a good spot for it. I'll still be able to fit my bar pad in here, you know, bar pad for life. And these little danglers down here, wherever that headlight is going to go, there's a ton of room around here, and I can actually make a little bit more room by putting in some spacers. So pretty stoked on that. I got plenty of room, and as long as the front brake doesn't interfere with this, which is the only thing that really is a possibility, pretty happy with the place I picked for it. There's no going back after this. I think, like I talked about earlier, we're going to put the charge port on the right side to keep it away from the chain and all the oil and stuff that flings off of that. I think it's going to be really sick. So anyway, this is the point I got picked out. I think it's going to work. Hole saw to go right through this brand new part I got on, but see if it goes. Yeah, boy. Oh, that is sick. That's a really good spot, actually. So next we're gonna press it in there all the way and then mark out the screw holes, and we'll put some, I think I got some wood screws left over from something else we bought. So I didn't actually plan for this, but I bought new screws. So I replaced this part, as I was talking about, because the old one was just all trashed in here from rocks and dirt hitting it. And so when I replaced that, since the screws, they were super cheap, I replaced these brand new screws, and I think 2 more. And the old ones, I didn't really know what to do with, and it's good that I saved them. So it's perfect because I'm just going to repurpose these old airbox screws that I took out of it before, and use those to hold the charge port in, and it'll look nice because it's Honda parts. One of the things you got to do with plastic is you gotta get it started. Otherwise, as soon as I put a drill bit into this, it's gonna walk all over the place. So I just use a little machinist scribe and get some pilot holes started, because we can only drill this once. I'll make this, well, I don't know, maybe I'll make this so that the hinge is probably up top. But man, that's gonna be really neat to have it's gonna be really cool just to have a port where I can charge the bike and not have to take the seat off to access the battery. Do none of that. Just get home, plug it in if I need to. Very cool. Very cool.
Let's go for a ride in my Nissan Skyline. Shawty, you a gem, black hair, dark blue eyes. I'ma treat you right for the rest of your life. Baby, if you're sad, I will sleep till you're fine. Let's go for a ride in my Nissan Skyline. Shawty, you a gem, black hair, dark blue eyes. I'ma treat you right for the rest of your life. Baby, if you're sad, I will sleep till you're fine. Girl, you get me higher than I've been before. Your smile is something I can't ignore. All these other drugs don't mean shit to me. Baby, I'm a fiend and you're my nicotine.
So the placement of the rear indicator lights, we got those drilled out. That's what I was doing. So we got these all countersunk, and that baby's gonna sit in there like that. I figured out a place for the rear wire to go through. So how that's gonna go is I got this hole drilled right here, and once the tail is under here, the wire is gonna come right along here and pop through there, and I got this grommet. So wire for the rear indicators will come through here. I'll probably leave the connector right about here somewhere, and then somehow we're gonna snake it down. Yeah, we're gonna snake it down through here. Figure that out. There's the inside of the charge port. Pretty cool. So for the next thing, I've probably made turn signals for like 3 different bikes out of this piece of steel that I've had forever. So it's really good. This is 11 gauge stainless steel. Came from a big stainless steel sheet I once had. But I used to use it for like sampling welds on, but anyway, there's still some good area of this, and what I'm gonna do is use that to make some turn signal holders right here. At one time long ago, I actually bought some turn signal holders. Basically, it's like a triangle of metal, and they were so thin and cheap. The vibrations broke them in like 2 or 3 rides. It was pathetic. So that's what actually made me start wanting to make them thicker. And this is pretty thick. It's about an 1/8 inch thick sheet of stainless steel. So we're gonna make some pretty tough turn signal holders for it.
You're not sad again, are you, Splash Gang?
So we got the quick sketch of what's going to be our turn signal here, and of course I got to get a 37 in there. So it's going to be, if you want to copy this, it's going to be from this edge to the middle of that hole, 37 millimeters, and then it's going to be 37 millimeters tall. All holes, this is actually an 8 millimeter bolt, that's 0.309. So we're just going to punch it out to 0.312, which is 5/16, and I have plenty of 5/16 bits. So all 3 holes are going to be 5/16. These 2 holes are 18 millimeters apart, and we'll center those up. And then the total body is 47 millimeters that way, and like I said, 37 millimeters tall. So it's your size. When we get this on there, it's gonna bolt right in there like that. Be nice and pinch up on in here. Be nice and solid with that 11 gauge stainless steel. So we'll get this transferred to this, and then start hacking at it.
Let's go for a ride in my Nissan Skyline. Shawty, you a gem, black hair, dark blue eyes. I'ma treat you right for the rest of your life. Baby, if you're sad, I will sleep till you're fine. Let's go for a ride in my Nissan Skyline. Shawty, you a gem, black hair, dark blue eyes. I'ma treat you right for the rest of your life.
Here's our drawing, and we got that laid out on the blue plate. So
Get me higher than I've been before. Your smile is something I can't ignore. All these other drugs don't mean shit to me. Baby, I'm a fiend and you're my nicotine. Let's go, let's go.